Bande Matram, good morning, welcome all of you. We are discussing here on a universal light was in his eyes. So we are trying to have a brief discussion on the Supreme Lord. So it is a great time for us. This is a relaxed day. We are here in of course, Kenduchar district, it is Mugupur. It is their first annual function, first, of course, anniversary of the relics. We are going to celebrate here. Here in this process of discussion, we are going to have a brief discussion on the Lord. A universal light was in his eyes. That's what the topic of discussion. A universal light was in his eyes. Most of the time when you physically you have met Sri Aurobindo, the speciality in many formats, many ways you have seen, but especially the most attractive substance what you observe is still, of course, our Lord's eyes. Very glittering, very dazzled, of course, very luminous. You can find in the lights in his eyes, externally or superficially. This is the thing which attracts you, and you get attracted in a boundless manner. So he's about his eyes. Sri Aurobindo writes here, a universal light was in his eyes, and a golden influx flowed through heart and brain. Just imagine when we talk of the light, so naturally the next step is we have to merge into the inner portions of the being. So here we can find the universal light was in his eyes again. A golden influx flowed through heart and brain. Through heart and brain, a golden influx. Of course, when already couple of times we have quoted, not couple of times, most of the times we have quoted, we will find the term golden, golden, golden in while reading Savitri. This is a great description, and this is a great word, of course, this golden. So a golden influx flowed through heart and brain. Then again, a force came down into his mortal limbs. First, we found the description of the eyes. Then we came to the heart and brain. Eyes, a universal light was in his eyes. Second, heart and the brain, we have seen a golden influx flowed through heart and the brain. Then about the mortal limbs, because it has to perish, but Lord is immortal. A force came down into his mortal limbs. Limbs are mortal, but he is immortal. For the time being, it is we can find this mortality of the body we find, but actually he is immortal. And moreover, immortality, it is related solely with respect to the soul. We know soul is immortal. A force came down into his mortal limbs, a current from eternal seeds of bliss, a current from the eternal seeds of bliss, eternal seeds of bliss. From there, that arena, a current came. He felt the invasion and the timeless joy. There, the feeling is that he felt the joy. He felt the invasion of invasion and the nameless joy. That name really, it is unnamed, it unnameable, it is unknown, because that joy normally we have never felt. No books have ever described that tremendous supernal bliss, what actually flew, that invasion and nameless joy, what actually Lord Sri Aurobindo, of course, in the name of Aswapati, the protagonist, there itself, that joy is actually nameless joy, and he felt the invasion of that force and the light. Aware of his occult omnipotent source, well aware. Don't imagine, already we have seen while describing Sri Aurobindo, we find, although consenting to mortal ignorance, his knowledge shared the light ineffable. He is consenting to the mortal ignorance. For that, He has taken birth, all are blissful, born to be insensible, all knowledge seem ventured into ignorance, immortal, deluge with immortality, eternal, ascends to fate and time, divine, wears the shape of animal and man. That is what the great description, while describing the avatarhood. Of course, the true avatarhood of the true phenomenon, while describing the incarnation, we have seen. Aware of his occult omnipotent source. Occult omnipotent source, he was aware. Allured by the omniscient ecstasy. Allured by the omniscient ecstasy. So, with that, we can find a living setter of the illimitable, a living center. You can't find that something is disguised, something is unknown, unseen. Not that way. We find a living center of the illimitable, widened to equate with the world's circumference. You see Sri Aurobindo, normal man, he is moving, doing the human level. I'll quote you. Sometimes you feel, what is the truth, what is the truth behind finding out or recognize the avatar. When you go to the Rama avatar, you can find that there is a great arrow, bow and arrow, that you have seen. And while coming to the avatar Krishna, there is, that peacock plum is there. So, and this flute you can find as the sign. And see, find when you are coming to Sri Aurobindo, what is the external appearance? Just this human form you see. Most of the time you feel, is it possible in a human form? Simply so simple. Being educated in the Western atmosphere, harboring the superhuman knowledge, and of course overburdened with the supernal rays and super influx of the supernal force. Just imagine if somebody sees him from the outside, beholds him from the outside, they will be never in a position to know how great he is. The thing is that, because to know him, it needs some inner light, inner mind, inner expression that really we don't have, we lack. Anyway, allured by the omniscient ecstasy, a living center of the illimitable. Living center. You can't find something like it is lost or it is, no, nothing like this. It is the living center of the illimitable. What he is doing? Widened to equate with the world's circumference. He was find a small, something like a human, with he is acquiring all the human moments and almost confined to a human being. But the thing is that the reality is that he's writing here in the quotes, widened to equate with the world's circumference. That's what is very difficult to measure. World circumference is widening, because originally and naturally he is that is, he is no way less. You can't observe in your mortal vision. You can't write something, calculate his glory, his magnanimity through the mere calculator or through your mental calculations. It is totally impossible. But that is the truth, and that is the true thing we see. He turned to his immense spiritual fate. Immense spiritual fate. This spirituality is totally unknown or unexplained, unachievable for us. Sri Aurobindo quotes here. He turned to his immense spiritual fate. Spiritual we don't know. Then comes the spiritual fate, and before it, actually, it is the adjective is immense spiritual fate. Just imagine where really he is and where our imaginations, our calculations, and our appreciation actually reaches. Abandoned on the canvas of torn air. Air that is torn. There is abandoned on a canvas of torn air, a picture lost in fire and fading streaks. See in the quotes, little letter before some few lines we can quote here in the quotes here. He dwelt in the wideness of the eternal realm. That is what Sri Aurobindo, because somebody asked again and again, repeatedly somebody questioned, Sir, I want to write your biography. Sri Aurobindo is totally silent, not actually, not in a position or not in a mood, you can't claim that way, but Sri Aurobindo anyway, he is silent. Again and again, that repeatedly that the question is coming, Lord, Lord, I want to write your biography. So when the thing is coming to write upon the biography, so here in the course of what really you know of my real life, whatever you see, that is the external things you see, that has been visualized by your immortal vision. But the thing is that I have got the inner truth. What do you know about my inner life, about my inner being, inner movements and originality? What you know, so that you can write my biography. Still, that biography is written not once or twice, but again and again in many terms, by many, it has been written. So. It is there, Sri Aurobindo quotes here beautifully. He dwelt in the wideness of the eternal realm. Not that wideness you are simply staying in some very confined atmosphere in your locality. Suppose in some lane or town or your village, it is actually sophisticated. So sometimes you feel, no, it is not the right thing. I want to come out of the village or lane or city. Some open air, open space is there. I want to build up my house. I want to stay there. We feel there. It is actually very pure and spacious air. But thing is that it is not like this. After some time, maybe within a couple of months, you will find a lot of people will be following your track. They will be also building big mansions, big rooms around you, and you feel wherever I was there, it was somehow well. I have spent a lot of money. I felt some vastness, some space will be there. But thing is that I am still wherever initially where I was. Now I am there. But Sri Aurobindo quotes it originally. What Sri Aurobindo is actually, he dwelt in the wideness of the eternal realm. Wideness of the eternal realm, not confined to this birth, this vision, this locality, and this achievement, but actually eternal realm. It was there, it is there, and it will continue again. So he dwelt in the wideness of the eternal realm. That eternal realm, it was, it is, and it will be, and it is actually, it is definitely vast, and that is the wideness. There he dwelt. Second, his being now exceeded thinkable space, just whatever the human vision can think. Even some superior vision is, even if it is thinkable, for some superior visions also, that has been also exceeded. His being now exceeded thinkable space that is thinkable, that also has been exceeded. A boundless thought was never to the cosmic sight. See, we live, we dwell content among our neighbors. So many neighbors are there, and we take them. We have interchange of vegetable curry. You give to myself, and I share with you. That is what neighborhood. But something here in the quotes. Mob like they stoned and never caught in sin. It is very good. He is my neighbor. We have got better relation, kith and kin. Most of the time we are sparing our leisure moments. So many ways we are distributing our sorrows and agonies and the pain and of course laughter among ourselves. But the thing is that in the course, mob like they stoned and never caught in sin. Suppose he has committed any sort of sin to our vision, then we do what we do. We just mob like we stone the neighbor. Even he meets his pathetic death. Here in the quotes, the boundless thought was never to the cosmic sight. His sight, not the mortal sight. His vision, not the mortal vision, not confined. Here in the quotes, the boundless thought was never to the cosmic sight. He is Sri Aurobindo. He is actually protagonist. He himself, the divine writing the divine idea, with the divine idea, writing the divine story in the divine way, in the very divine dynamic, for the divine future, divine dynamic future with his divine limbs. That is what the divinity, it has been packed in Savitri, we have seen. Again, Sri Aurobindo will try to come to the concluding session. Sri Aurobindo quotes very beautifully. For the spirit is, for the eternal spirit is his truth. Originally truth, we think of our original truth, we find. For the eternal spirit is his truth. For the eternal spirit is his truth. Just imagine, take soul takes birth from birth after birth to gain some experience so that it can develop and progress. Here we find, for the eternal spirit is his truth. He can recreate himself and all around. That is the speciality of the Lord, of the master, where you are taking a refuge. You know the master, our master, totally different whenever you compare all the gods and goddesses. Of course, the avatars, whatever you have find so far, he is totally different. The avatar, incarnation of the supermind you can find. He can recreate himself and all around, and the person knew the world in which he lives. He can recreate himself and all around. That is the first step. Second, person knew the world in which he lives. The lives, already we have seen where he lives. That intensity of quest, if that is well confined in us, so we can adventure and adventure. We can see with the psychic vision, with the sight of the spirit, we can know how great, how magnanimous he is. Here in the course, and person knew the world in which he lives. Sri Aurobindo tries to explain, he lives in the house before the world was born. Sometimes, one yuga is over and the second yuga is awaiting. It is in the waiting, it is coming. So where really the Lord lies, Savitri, we have seen the very first line. It was the over before the gods awake, where he lives really. The world is actually, it is blackened, it is darkened, it is waterlogged. So many ways we have seen the junction. One yuga is over and the second yuga is coming. So nearly sometimes and not sometimes, and most of the time, people keep asking the question. Okay, this mortal being perishes, this mortal earth and this creation perishes. There is no problem. But what about the Lord? Where here really he stays here in the course. He was here before the elements could emerge, and before there was thought of mind, there before the life could breathe, he was here. Then about this junction, at this juncture where really he stays and he comes and reigns, of course, creates this world where really he is here in the course here. He lives in the house before the world was born. His soul left naked of the timeless one. Lives in the house before the world was born. So that was the real scenario. Lives in the house. So we're going to have the concluding words, in a couple of concluding words we will see. Here in the course here, for the eternal spirit is his truth, and he can recreate himself and all around. And the person knew the world. Person knew the world in which he lives. Person, that is a part. And second, person, what? Up to what? New, totally different. That is what the working of the Lord, So again, here in the course, he, ignorant, is the knower beyond time. Time is capital T. Knower beyond time, and he is the self above nature, above fate. So, still in the course here, he, ignorant, is the knower beyond time. That is what is speciality. That is the Lord. And this Lord, where we can find in him, we can find our entire world, entire creation, everything is well confined and well embodied there. So, he, ignorant, is the knower beyond time. Next, here in the course beautifully, he is the self above nature, above fate. Self above nature. Nature is capital N, and fate, of course, capital F. So finally we can go to the concluding remarks. Sri Aurobindo quotes here, a lone foreigner of the Godward earth, a lone foreigner, there is no other. Still now there was nothing, and yet there is nothing, and who can so see if somebody among you can be able to cross the path or walk in the untrodden way. So he journeys to meet the incommunicable, hearing the echo of his single steps, there is no other. So so what he wants, hearing the echo of his single steps, there is no second. Whose steps he can see? Lone, Sri Aurobindo quotes here, lone steps, single steps he hears and journeys to meet the incommunicable. His spirit mingles with the eternity's heart. His spirit, what he does, mingles with the eternity's heart and hears the silence of the infinity. This is the great description. On this great day, at least here we are where we are staying, it is a great day for us. It is the relaxed day of this Mogopura railway station, Sri Aurobindo Sadhanalaya. So here on this great occasion, we are here at least to express our gratitude to near the Lord and the great Divine Mother. Anyway, it is a great moment. Thank you. Vande Mataram.